In the Avatar community, there's a lot of talk about character development and character arcs. It is arguably one of Avatar's greatest selling points. You'll find videos of Katara, Sokka, Azula's descent into madness, and of course, let's not forget the million video essays that have covered Zuko's impeccable redemption arc. However, interestingly, the main character, the last Airbender himself, Aang, is left out. Admittedly, this is a testament to how great and fleshed out the roster of characters is in the series. But why is Aang left out? I mean, throughout the series his struggles are numerously parallel with Zuko's most remarkable character arc. And also, he's kind of the main character. Is Aang's development not significant enough? To what extent does his character develop? Does he have an arc? If so, then what is it, and how effective is it? All these questions are insufficiently talked about. In this video, I'm therefore going to answer these questions. We're going to take an in-depth look at Aang's character development. But before we do that, I want to welcome you back to All About Avatar. Your support has meant a lot, and our community of friends is growing. Please support the channel by giving this video a like and subscribing. You're fantastic. Thank you. Having said that, how can we tackle the topic of Aang's character arc? Before examining how Aang overcomes his internal conflict, we must first look at what that conflict entails. In other words, what is Aang's struggle? At the beginning of the series, Aang is revealed to have been trapped in an iceberg for 100 years, which causes him to miss out on his childhood and wake up to a world at war. We first see Aang's flaws when he admits this to Katara and Sokka.
Why didn't you tell us you were the Avatar?
Because I never wanted to be.
We see here the beginning of Aang's personal struggle. Aang is scared of being the Avatar and the responsibilities that come with that. However, this is only further developed in the episode The Storm. Considered by many to be the best Book 1 episode and one of the best episodes in the entirety of the series, The Storm follows a series of parallel flashbacks between Zuko and Aang. Both lay out their past and how it affects them today. In the episode we come to understand that Aang was reluctant to accept his duty as the Avatar and ran away when he learned of it. Of course, he ultimately got caught in a storm that trapped him in that iceberg. Subsequently, Aang vanished for 100 years. He was neither able to defend against the genocide of his people, nor was he able to take on his Avatar duty and protect the balance of the world. We find here Aang's first struggle. Aang struggles to come to terms with his past mistakes and their impact on the world. Simply put, Aang feels guilt. Running away from his responsibilities that day is a trauma to him. Aang's other character struggle is intertwined with that traumatic experience. Aang's failure to take responsibility prevents him from fulfilling his duties as the Avatar. We find fear at the base of Aang not taking responsibility and not taking up his role as the Avatar. You know the cringy saying, fear has two meanings, forget everything and run or face everything and rise? Well, Aang is the first one. It is his nature. It is who he is. But that does not lend itself well to his role as the Avatar, nor the situation he finds himself in, which is a war he must end. And all of this is connected to Aang's dual identity. Aang wants to have a normal childhood. He wants to be Aang the Airbender, not Aang the Avatar, which leads us to... Midway in the Season 2, in the episode The Spirit World Part 2, Avatar Roku, the show gains some much needed structure and urgency. After Aang succeeds in contacting Roku, Roku informs Aang that the Fire Nation is nearing total victory, and that Fire Lord Ozai will utilize the power of Sozin's Comet by summer to ensure that victory. In turn, Roku declares that Aang must master all 4 elements and defeat the Fire Lord and the Fire Nation before the end of summer, before Sozin's Comet. Before this episode, Aang was shying away from his responsibility as the Avatar and in the war. But now, that avoiding pattern is abruptly shattered by the concrete responsibility Roku gives him. Aang can no longer avoid responsibility and live a normal, happy childhood. His negligence towards taking responsibility is directly challenged. Also, Aang's past decision influences his current challenge. Of course, the gist of it remains the same. Aang must take up his responsibility as the Avatar and defeat the Fire Nation. However, because Aang ran away and was absent for so long, the time frame in which he can do so is radically shortened. It fits that a character who's avoidant and fails to take responsibility is tasked with an immensely difficult, hell, almost impossible job. So Aang must face the consequences of his past actions, those actions that still haunt him to this day. I think the setup of Aang's character struggle and the subsequent challenge he must overcome is excellently written. But of course, now we get to how Aang accomplishes this challenge and overcomes his personal struggle. So for the purpose of clarity, I will be dividing this part into 3 books in chronological order. So that is Book 1, Water, Book 2, Earth, and Book 3, Fire. Being tasked with learning the 4 elements and facing the Fire Nation, Aang starts training following the Avatar cycle, needing to learn Water, Earth, and Fire. Beginning with Water, the gang travels to the Northern Water Tribe to find a waterbending teacher. Of course, Aang trying to learn the elements is a start in taking up his Avatar role, but the first significant character beat is in the finale of Season 1. Having learned that the Avatar resides at the North Pole, the Fire Nation launches a full-on attack on the Northern Water Tribe. It is an excellent setup for a potential character beat for Aang. The last time Aang could have made a difference during a Fire Nation assault, he ran away, and the consequences were horrific, to put it lightly. Luckily, Aang stands up to the challenge.
I wasn't there when the Fire Nation attacked my people. I'm gonna make a difference this time.
In this first battle, Aang succeeds in saving the Northern Water Tribe. It is his first great feat as the Avatar, his first demonstration that he will no longer avoid responsibility. And how he does so matters too. Of course, the Avatar is the bridge between the spiritual world and the physical world. And during the finale, Aang seeks help from the spirits, culminating in him merging with La to defeat the Fire Nation fleet. Not only does Aang face his task, but he also does so uniquely by understanding his role and abilities as the Avatar. It is the first beat of his development into the Avatar. Following Book 1, the gang continues their quest, now searching for an earthbending teacher. Now again, this is reflective of Aang's attempt to overcome the challenge, but that's not the bulk of Aang's development in Book 2. In the first episode, we find Aang scared of himself in the Avatar state. He's afraid of the power of the Avatar and of not controlling it. Again, Aang fears the reality that he is the Avatar and the power and responsibility that come with his identity. Of course, he tries to confront that in this episode, but in the end, after he unleashes destruction and after being forced into the Avatar state, Aang is distressed and fears the Avatar state even more. So we see that Aang is far from a fully realized Avatar and that he's far from fully embodying his role in the Avatar state. Following several episodes, Aang begins his earthbending training in the thoroughly underrated episode, Bitter Work. In this episode, Aang's avoiding nature is confronted head-on. Earthbending requires one to face things directly. The quiet mind state directly opposes Aang's non-confrontational personality, and in the episode, Aang develops his more confrontational attitude. Moving over to just before the season finale, Aang travels to Guru Patik as he embarks on his chakra-opening spiritual journey. This is the most important episode in Aang's journey. To fully master the Avatar state, Aang must open all his 7 chakras. It ties back into the first episode, the Avatar state. Aang is ready to confront what must be done to develop himself as the Avatar.
Are you ready?
I'll do whatever it takes.
So what must Aang do? Confront his past trauma and his current fears. Aang is to confront the trauma of losing his entire people and culture to the Fire Nation. He confronts his mistakes, his decision to run away.
I ran away.
This is something he has avoided facing in the past, but the Guru forces him to confront it in order to unlock his full potential as the Avatar. We are shown that Aang fears his task, which entails confronting the Fire Nation and ending the war, but at the same time, he also fears himself. He sees himself in the Avatar state. And then, Aang learns to embrace his role as the Avatar.
Why didn't you tell us you were the Avatar?
'Cause I never wanted to be.
You cannot lie about your own nature. You must accept that you are the Avatar.
Here, Aang grows, albeit a bit fast. He is directly confronting his character's struggle. He confronts his guilt, his failure to take responsibility, and his failure to accept his role as the Avatar. Of course, he doesn't open his 7th and last chakra, as he can't let go of Katara and runs away. In Book 1, Aang didn't want to be the Avatar. Here, Aang accepts his identity as the Avatar, but he's not willing to go all the way, letting go of his earthly attachment. Then of course, in the season finale, he succeeds in letting go of Katara, and it appears that he mastered the Avatar state in that moment. It also appears that his arc is complete. Aang accepts his role as the Avatar and does what must be done. But then of course, this happens. Shot full of lightning, Aang's chakra closed again, and we see him hit rock bottom in the next season. Okay, so here Aang's character development gets rather messy, and it was kinda hard for me to pin it down. We continue Book 3 with Aang waking up in a captured Fire Nation ship. The Fire Nation captured Ba Sing Se, the last great stronghold, and Aang is not only physically injured, but also traumatized by the experience. He can't come to terms with the fact that he failed. More so, he can't accept that the world thinks he failed.
But the problem is, I did fail.
Aang, that's not true.
It is true. I was in Ba Sing Se. I was there. But I lost.
Aang has felt incredibly guilty over his 100-year absence, and now he thinks he failed the world again. It is an important character beat. Aang is struck down physically and mentally, and he feels tremendous amount of guilt. As he said himself,
I need to redeem myself. I need my honor back.
The episode succeeds in setting up Aang's final confrontation with Ozai, and it sets up Aang's willingness to now do whatever it takes to regain his honor and take responsibility, to fully accept his Avatar role. This is beautifully symbolized by him burning his glider and covering up his tattoo. Aang must let go of his identity as Aang the Last Airbender, who wants to carry the legacy of his people, and accept his identity as Aang, the Avatar, who carries the responsibility of the world. So, why would I say it is muddled? Well, Aang taking up his responsibility as the Avatar in the war was set up in Book 2 at least to be about mastering the Avatar state, opening all his chakras and especially letting go of his earthly attachment. And the opening episode sets up precisely that. Aang will now let go of his personal identity and his earthly attachment and do everything it takes to take up his responsibility as the Avatar. However, Season 2 established that doing so relates to him letting go of Katara and opening his 7th chakra, which was then blocked by Azula. But the rest of the season almost doesn't even deal with this. I mean, throughout the season we do see Aang's growth. Great illustrations of these are, for example, Aang talking to Sokka before the invasion.
You seem so confident about everything. How do you know we're gonna win?
Because I already failed the world once at Ba Sing Se. I won't let myself fail again.
Or after they lost the invasion, when Aang stood up and said this.
Thank you all for being so brave and so strong. I'm gonna make this up to you.
And we get back to Aang's arc only in the finale of the season. In the 4-part season finale, Aang struggles with his dual identity again. Aang is conflicted between his personal airbender morals, those that preach non-violence, and his duty to the world, him needing to end Ozai in the war. So he seeks guidance from his past lives, which all pretty much say the same thing.
Avatar Aang, I know that you're a gentle spirit, and the monks have taught you well. But this isn't about you. This is about the world.
In other words, Aang must now fully accept his Avatar identity, something he couldn't do in Season 2. He must not evade, but face his destiny. But in the end, he doesn't. He doesn't kill Ozai. He gets an easy way out as a random lion turtle shows up and gives him a way out of his moral dilemma. By getting rid of the necessity to confront his moral dilemma, in my opinion, they left Aang's character arc incomplete. Oh, and remember how Aang had to let go of Katara and his earthly attachment to open his chakra? Well, how does Aang open his 7th chakra in the end? Does he let go of his earthly attachment? Does he, through personal growth and accepting the Avatar responsibility, master the Avatar state? No. After not dealing with it the entire season, Aang gets hit by a rock in his scar and masters the Avatar state, completing his Avatar identity.
Come on out, little boy. You're about to be...
He simply doesn't need to confront his weakness. No, Aang just needs a rock. Writing this, I really get why people dislike the Deus Ex Machina so much. It just steals Aang's arc away from him. Of course, it doesn't mean that Aang's character didn't develop. It just means that his arc is incomplete, and therefore his character journey is less effective in my opinion. But don't get me wrong, I mean, Aang still went from avoiding responsibility and not wanting to be the Avatar, to accepting his role in ending the war and becoming a fully realized responsibility-taking Avatar. Albeit the details of his acceptance of the Avatar identity become very, very muddled in the end. So, what do you guys think about Aang's character arc and his overall character development? Also, how do you think they should have handled it? I'm eager to know your thoughts. Make sure to join our awesome group of friends by subscribing and hit the like button. Have a good one. See ya.
And power are overrated. I think you are